Welcome back. This is Wildfire. I'm Josh. Wanted to take a quick second here and share with you about an old guitar case. And I got a guitar case a couple months ago that was in pretty bad shape. And it had dings and scratches and dents and gaps, and the wood was falling off, and it was just terrible. A lot of, people just didn't take care of it. And it's dated back from like the 1890s. It's vintage. A lot of people talk about vintage being from the 70s and the 60s. That ain't vintage. To me, anything vintage is from the 40s and before, but that's just my opinion. That's it. So I've been working on this guitar case, right? And there's a lot of dings and scratches and character that I wanted to leave on it. I didn't want to take the scratches out, didn't want to take the dings out, but what I wanted to do was fix it to where it was usable, because what I had was just a piece of wood that was flimsy and it was not going to hold a guitar. So I ended up fixing this guitar case, and it turned out all right. It's nice and stiff and strong, and I'm more than happy to put a guitar in it and carry it around to do its business. Now, there's a lot of holes in this guitar case that I had to patch and fill, and I got it all done, but as I was starting to think about this, and it kind of drilled in my mind, I started to realize that I'm the guitar case. When Jesus found me, or when I found Jesus, both ways, I was broken. I was bruised. I had holes in me. I was flimsy. I had scratches and dings. I had a lot of character in my life. And when Christ found me and saved me from me repenting of my sins and asking for forgiveness, he took that guitar case and he fixed it to where it was a solid foundation, to where it could carry the load of a guitar. And I started to realize that I'm the guitar case. All a guitar case is it's a vessel to transport the guitar, right? It keeps the guitar safe, but it transports it from one place to another. And that's really what we do as Christians. We are the vessel, and Christ is the guitar. The music that he creates and moves in people has nothing to do with us. We're just the vessel. We just represent it. We just carry it, right? But God does all the work naturally. But in the same sense, we've still got all these scars and dings and memories that we can't forget. And that's understandable, because that's pretty much who made us who we are and how we are today. But with Christ, naturally, we're a new creature. But as I started finishing the guitar case, I realized that I was the guitar case. And as much as I love character on a guitar, and what that means is dings and scratches and marks, I don't like these old vintage guitars pretty, right? I like scratches and dings and the story behind it. And I know that I've got a story to tell, and I'm trying to tell it. And I know that you have a story to tell. Christ, I heard a while back that Jesus doesn't equip the called. He calls the equipped. So even if you think that you can't do things like this, for the longest time, Chris used to get me to do sermons on Wednesday nights, and I did it for a couple times, and I just always told him that wasn't my forte, it wasn't what I was doing. But as the years go by, and the more I think about those type of instances in my life, all he was doing what God called him to do. He was preparing me for what I'm doing now. And it's sad that I couldn't see that in those times of trials in my life, because I could have learned a whole lot more than I've ever learned from Chris. But, sometimes we're prideful and we just don't listen. But God was trying to prep me to do more as a vessel, and I wasn't having it. And sadly, it took a pretty big instance in my life to open my eyes and open the guitar case in my life to present the beautiful guitar, to share the music with people, which is Jesus. And, a lot of times sometimes we think about Job and how he was he had boils and scratches and dings, and he would even take rocks from the ground and scratch his pus and his boils in his body. He was such in agony that he just wanted to die. Scripture says he loathed his life. He hated it so much because he didn't know what was going on in his circumstance. And I think a lot of times we can correlate with that. We just don't know what's going on in our circumstance, whether it's a financial crisis that, we've got so much debt we can't get out of, or it's a relationship, or somebody you love passes away. A lot of trials in our life go through our minds, and we just think that God isn't here. But in reality, he is more than faithful. He is always holding us. And the song I'm going to sing today is, I stumbled upon it a couple days ago, called Honey in the Rock by Brandon Lake. And I'm in this situation now in my life where I study too much. I think too deep. I always double check words, make sure it correlates with Scripture. I've got a bad habit of doing that. And there's a part in this chorus of the song called Honey in the Rock. And it's out of Deuteronomy chapter 32, if you get time to read the chapter. But a gist of it is talking about past generations and how God was faithful to the generations. He was always providing ways for his people. And one of those instances is where he would provide honey, something as sweet nectar as honey, inside of a rock, or olive oil from a desert plant. He was always providing in the circumstances or the trials in their lives. And just like today, he is always providing for us in our trials, in our lives. All we have to do is pray, read Scripture, and listen. A lot of people don't want to listen anymore. Listening is how you grow in your life. So what we need to do is communicate with Christ, read his word, meditate on it, and allow him to move in our lives. Even if we're bombarded with everything that this world has to offer, and it's got a lot to offer, a lot of good and a lot of bad. Just know that even out of a rock, God can create a beautiful, sweet nectar. And out of your situation, which is a hard, rough surface, just like a rock, he can create something beautiful out of that. So this song is called Honey in the Rock. I'm not the best singer in the world. I'm not the best guitarist in the world. The whole point of this is to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And this is uncomfortable to me. And so I'm trying. So this is called Honey in the Rock.
Praying for a miracle, thirsty for the living well. Only you can satisfy. Sweetness at the mercy seat, I've tasted, it's not hard to see. Only you can satisfy. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't have to worry now that I know everything I need you've got. There's honey in the rock. Freedom at the mercy seat, I've tasted, it's not hard to see. Only you can satisfy. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't have to worry now that I know everything I need you've got. There's honey in the rock, purpose in your plan, power in the blood, healing in your hands. Started flowing when you said it is done. Everything you did's enough. There's honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't have to worry now that I know every little thing you've got. There's honey in the rock, purpose purpose in your plan. Power in the blood.